Welcome back to International Women of St. Charles Sip and Chat Minutes. I'm June. I have a really special guest today, a good friend of mine, Glennetta. She's an attorney with Haymon Law Office here in St. Charles, and her specialty is in business law, probate, intellectual property, and estate planning. Estate planning is especially important in real estate. As a home buyer or homeowners, it's important to think beyond just buying a home, buying a house. It's very important to think about how to protect your possibly most expensive purchase that you have made. And she'll be a perfect person to talk to. And we've been good friends for a while, so I am excited about today's interview. And as always, Dolo, our co-founder of International Women of St. Charles, will be doing an interview, and I look forward to listening to this conversation, and I hope you do.
Hi everyone, welcome to our is it third or fourth? Fourth. Okay, anyway, hi everyone, welcome to our Sip and Chat Minute. And I'm here today with the lovely Glennetta, and we're going to talk about her practice. She's a wonderful lawyer here in St. Charles, and she has all these other areas of specialties that she specializes in, and she'll love to talk to you about what she does and how she can be of service to you in our community. So welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Thank you so much for having us. I know it's been crazy this past few weeks, but when I talked to June about having to talk to some Black women in business, she thought about you. She said, why don't we just, see if she's available to meet with us. So thank you for taking that time.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Can you tell us everything, a little bit about your business, your practice, and what you do and how you got into it? It's like multiple questions packed in one.
Yeah, no problem at all. So I'm Glennetta Haymon of Haymon Law Office, where we protect your brand, your business, and your family. And so we focus in the areas of business law, probate, intellectual property, and estate planning. We've been in business since 2017, and the goal really is to help small business owners secure their legal foundation. And not only that, help individuals and families make sure they don't have to go through the probate process at their end of life stages. So preparing them so their families can obtain their generational wealth.
Right, that's important.
Yeah. That's setting up their estate.
I think a lot of us talk about that generation wealth, and so do you work, if somebody has a financial planner, do you work with a financial planner, or do you have how do you go about, doing all of the practice? I'm not too familiar with the laws and stuff like that.
Yeah, with estate planning, generally if that person has a financial advisor, I will communicate with them if they want me to. That is a very great conversation to have, especially if someone's setting up like a trust for their children or a trust for their residents or even their business. Yeah. So we can ensure that, myself and the financial advisor are on the same page when it comes to creating that generational wealth.
Okay. And so when it comes to that, so a lot of people talk about trust. So there's a will and a trust. So I guess for me and other people who don't understand the difference, what is the difference and why is it so important for people to make sure that those things are in place for themselves and their families?
Good question. Very good question. So the difference between the will and the trust is actually their function, what they do. So everyone's heard of the last will and testament. We see it on TV. We see some fancy pants lawyer always reading it off, and everybody's mad. But if we get down to the bare bones of it, the will is like a backup document. So the will expresses all of your wishes, how you want your property to be distributed. You can also include any information about guardianship of your children or even your pets if you have a pet. So that document, you express your wishes in, and that document does get submitted to the probate court. So when you pass away, your documents will go to the probate court. It will be filed with the probate court, but you won't need it unless there's assets that aren't properly distributed or titled before your death. So you may or may not need it necessarily, but it's that backup document to share with your family and with everyone to say, these are my wishes. So in case something doesn't happen after you pass away, your will tell your story as to how you want things distributed. Alternatively, on the other side with the trust, a trust is like a living entity. You can look at it that way because you can put things into trust and that trust will outlive you. So if you have a trust set up and you put a home in the trust, or if you put money in the trust and you designate someone to receive those funds, after you pass away, that is the vehicle which would distribute those funds or that house or whatever that asset is that lives in the trust. So the trust will outlive you and the will is like a backup document to tell people what your wishes are.
So they're both like very much important.
Yes, they're both very, very important. Anyone over the age of 18 needs a will.
Yeah, see, a lot of people are always thinking of writing a will and all of this. They always associate that with aging. It's this fear of, if you're doing the will, that means you must be getting closer to the grave. But death can happen at any stages of life, right? So people need to be aware to take those things in consideration, because if something happens and you don't have the will or the trust, then does it go to the state, or whatever you have? Does it go to your locus? Like, does it go to the state? Like, if you have any type of, estates, right? I don't know, families, like, you don't have anything that talk about what you want those assets to go or where you want them to go. So if you don't have a will or trust, then does that mean they just like, it goes with the state? Or?
Well, that means that the laws of Missouri would designate how your items are distributed. So you would have to go to probate. So whoever, the person in your family, generally it's the person that's closest to you that would bring the probate as a personal representative in a probate case. And then the state, based on intestate laws in Missouri, that's how your estate would be distributed. So by the laws of Missouri, not by your wishes. So if you had a sister that you didn't like and that was your only heir, guess what? Your sister's gonna get your assets. So it's
really reach out and get those plans in place. Also, can you I'm sorry, I feel like I'm so excited that I didn't put my questions in order, but how did you get in law? Why did you get into it? And I know you went out in Phoenix, was it Phoenix? And then you came back to Missouri, but what was it that really made you want to pursue a career in law? Yeah,
so I actually wanted to be a lawyer at 9. I used to watch a lot of Matlock here. I was a weird kid. What 9-year-old do you know that watches Matlock?
No.
Right, very weird kid. I thought I was going to be like Matlock when I grew up, and I was going to help the Black community. That was my goal when I was little, because we saw, the Rodney King and everything that transpired after the civil rights movement in the 80s and early 90s and all of that. It made me say, well, I want to make a difference at a very young age. So at 9, I said I want to be a lawyer like Matlock, and then I ended up going to law school. Once I graduated and started working in criminal law, I realized that my talents, skills, and abilities were meant to serve a different area of the law, still to help people, but to help families and small business owners get to where they need to go.
That's exciting. Law, when people think about lawyers, always, when you think about the court, there's a defense lawyer and then there's a lawyer for the plaintiff and everything, but you don't really see. So there's all these other different specialized areas that are needed really for, like you said, for businesses, individual, and all of those things. So what have been like some challenges that you've come across, and how have you kind of worked through those challenges in your practice?
Well, as an entrepreneur and small business owner, there's a challenge within itself. The day-to-day challenge of being an entrepreneur and a business owner is something always, that's going on that you have to have your hands in. But I feel like I've learned to navigate that. Also, being a mom and being an entrepreneur and a lawyer.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about being a mom and a business owner.
I love it because I feel like it sets a great example for my daughter. She wants to work. She can work. We have work to do.
Yeah, I have work for her.
Right?
She can start.
I have work for her. She'll be rich before we go. But I think those are the big things that stand out as a woman, as a mom, but those are blessings too to me. I see those as blessings. So they're not really challenges. Another challenge, I guess, in just being an attorney and being an African-American woman, I feel like a lot of times I'm not as respected in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll get sat with defendants like, you're supposed to sit over there. Not supposed to sit over there.
To be here.
I'm supposed to be here. Or, you'll get the other attorneys that'll call you sweetie or hun or, those type of things. But to me, those aren't challenges. Again, I look at those more like, okay, I'm in this position for a reason, and maybe it's to open individuals' eyes to say that everyone can practice law. It doesn't matter if you're a woman. It doesn't matter if you're African American. It doesn't matter if you're Asian. It doesn't matter if you went to law school and you have the knowledge, skills, and ability. You should be respected. And it's almost like a blessing to be that person that could say, no, my name's not Sweetie, my name's Attorney Haymon.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome. Yeah, just almost like respect my name, respect my title because I've earned it. The funny thing is that, in every area of life, like, the wonderful thing about us being human is that we have so many talents, right? I'm sure you're not just a lawyer and just a mom. You have other talents, other aspirations that you chose those areas because those were it's mostly needed. Like the need is a lot greater. The representation, it matters, right? So I feel like in this world, there's so much problem, so much like anger, and you just have to find the one thing that angers you and use that, channel it. It's not see as a challenge. I'm glad that you said it in that way. It's not a challenge. It's just an area of growth, an area of learning, and that you have to kind of like make your own seat at the table. And because sometimes you feel intimidated, you might think, oh no, that's not the career for me, or that's not the place for me, because you feel like you might be seen less than and treated a certain way. So it's very important to find what really, what you're really angry about in the world and use that to be the light, really. We talked a lot about biblical references about God telling us to be the light so that others can see His greatness, So it's very important that you are out here representing the community and also just representing what a strong Black woman is to your daughter, because we have children, we have girls, and we want them to look at us as a reflection of themselves, So it's great. Is there any other advice that you want to share with other women in the group or anybody else who may be watching about just what it means to be in a career where it is mostly represented by men, for that fear or like that roadblock?
Yeah. The only advice that I can think of is you can do it.
Yeah.
And when you get those thoughts in your head that you can't do it, or you're less than, or you're not good enough, ask yourself, who told you that? Did God tell me that? No, God didn't tell you that. But He gave you your specific gifts, talents, and abilities to do something with. You can't sit on it. You have to do something with it. So He can bless you, and that's how He's going to bless you. And you can do it. And don't let anyone tell you cannot.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this. I think we can have a little come back and have more talk about that. This is so, and for somebody who's in business, I think I can definitely use your services because I'm trying to do some trademarking and some, things like that. Is it trademarking? Yeah, trademark. So do you do stuff like that as well? Oh, okay, well, I think I'll make an appointment so that we can come and talk about that. I tried to do the application. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So, but thank you so much. And hopefully we'll have another chat very soon.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye, everyone.